There's a phrase you hear everywhere. Make America great again. It's printed on hats. It's shouted at rallies. It's debated on television. It's attacked. It's defended. It's mocked. It's worshipped. But almost nobody stops and asks the most important question. What does great actually mean? Is it money? Is it military power? Is it global dominance? Or is it something deeper? Something that has slowly been taken away from ordinary people over generations. Because when I look at history, real history, not the simplified version we're handed, I don't just see progress. I see patterns, cycles, power concentrating, wealth concentrating, decision-making moving further and further away from people living everyday life. And whether you call that corruption, whether you call it consolidation, or whether you just call it human nature, it's real. Let's start with something most people feel, but don't fully understand. Money. Most people don't understand money. Not because they're not smart, not because they're not capable, because most of us were never actually taught how money works. We were taught how to earn it, how to spend it, how to borrow it, but not how it's created, not how systems around it shape entire civilizations. Modern economies are largely based on debt. They're debt-based. Money enters circulation through lending. Banks lend money into existence. Governments borrow against future productivity. And whether you believe that system evolved naturally or whether you believe it was designed intentionally, one truth remains. When money is tied to debt, someone always holds leverage. And history shows us over and over again, whoever controls money flow eventually influences outcomes. Now look what happened to manufacturing. For decades, production left the United States. Factories closed, small towns hollowed out, middle-class jobs disappeared, and it didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly, quietly. Trade deals, corporate incentives, global labor cost differences, and corporations followed profit because that's what corporations do. But here's what nobody talked about at the time. A country that cannot produce eventually cannot decide its own future. If you can't make your own medicine, if you can't make your own steel, if you can't make critical technology, you are dependent. And dependence always comes with a cost. Now suddenly, supply chains matter again. Now suddenly, domestic manufacturing matters again. Now suddenly, energy independence matters again. Because crises reveal what comfort hides. Now let's talk about corruption. Not conspiracy theories, corruption. Because corruption is real. Human trafficking exists. Financial fraud exists. Political corruption exists. Corporate regulatory capture exists. Power protects itself. That is not political. That is historical reality across every civilization that has ever existed. Rome had it. Empires had it. Modern governments have it. And ignoring corruption doesn't make it disappear. But here is where the deeper question begins. What is a nation supposed to be? Is a nation supposed to dissolve into global systems completely? Or is a nation supposed to be strong enough to cooperate without losing itself? Because there is a difference between cooperation and control, between trade and dependence, between leadership and submission. Now let's talk about something even more important. Families. Because no civilization survives if it loses the ability to raise strong, stable, confident children. Every major civilization collapse in history followed social fragmentation, not before, after. If you want to weaken a nation, you don't start with tanks. You start with identity. You start with culture. You start with confidence. You start with family structure. Because strong families create strong communities. Strong communities create stable nations. Now here's where this conversation gets uncomfortable for some people. Because when people hear "Make America Great," some hear politics, some hear nationalism, some hear exclusion. But for many people, what they actually hear is this: bring back economic stability. Bring back strong middle-class opportunity. Bring back local community strength. Bring back production. Bring back accountability in leadership. Not perfection, not domination, not empire. Stability, self-determination, confidence. And here is the hard truth most people don't like hearing. No politician saves a country. Not one. Not in history. People save countries. Culture save countries. Families save countries. Communities save countries. If America becomes stronger again, it won't be because one leader fixed it. It will be because people remembered who they were. Maybe "Make America Great" doesn't mean going backward. Maybe it means remembering what actually worked. Strong families, strong communities, domestic production, stable currency systems, lower corruption, accountability, and a nation strong enough to stand on its own while still cooperating with others. Now, let's zoom out for a moment, because this isn't just about America. Every nation on earth is facing versions of this same question. Who controls the future? Local populations or a large consolidated power structures? And there is tension there, real tension between global cooperation, which can be good, and global consolidation of power, which history shows can become dangerous. Balance matters. Local strength matters. National identity matters. Human dignity matters. Now here is the part nobody can legislate: mindset. Because a free society requires informed citizens. People who can think critically. People who question narratives from all sides. People who don't outsource their thinking. Because the easiest population to control is one that stops asking questions. Not one political party, not one ideology, any system. And here's the final question. What does greatness actually look like? Does it look like domination? Or does it look like stable families, healthy children, strong local economies, honest institutions, fair opportunity, functional infrastructure, safe communities? Because historically, that is what great nations actually had. Maybe greatness is not about being perfect. Maybe greatness is about being resilient. Maybe greatness is about building systems that serve people instead of people serving systems. And maybe the real question isn't, can America be great again? Maybe the real question is, do the people still remember what greatness actually is? This is World Patriot Radio. And if there's one thing history teaches us, no system lasts forever. But strong people, strong families, strong communities, they outlast everything.